Here's a review of the 2018 GX 460. We're gonna start with the styling. Let's start with the outside. The front grille is what's going on pretty much all Lexuses has been for the past few years, is the what I call the bow tie or the hourglass front grille. My uncle likes to call it the Darth Vader look, which I didn't think of before, but it makes complete sense. Some people hate it, some people love it, but it's what Lexus is known for right now in the current market. You know, most other vehicles kind of all look the same at this point, so that's kind of how they stand apart. Hate it or love it. This is the Eminent White Pearl paint color with the optional gunmetal metallic wheels. I think they look awesome with this paint. The trim have some chrome trim on the door handles and the doors right here, but there's none around the top of the window, which is kind of surprising. But they do put it on the base of the windowsill. They also put some chrome on the mirrors. So there's a good amount of chrome on this vehicle. Of course, it's around a little bit around the grille, obviously, the bottom of the grille, and just more of a silver metallic paint at the bottom. It's a nice contrast from the chrome. Of course, the Lexus sign right here, all chromed out. So there is a good amount of chrome if you're into that, if you're into 2006 chrome, but you still see chrome on just about all vehicles. This vehicle has been unchanged for a few years now, and we'll get into the interior here in a little bit and how that is a little outdated and needs some help to stay up with the competitors. We got the old GX opened up here. The lid is open. Here's a look at the powertrain. Obviously we have your battery, fuse box, but that's definitely brakes as well. You can see the 4 lines coming out of it for the brake lines. Airbox, and then under there that might be air conditioning. I can't tell. My assumption that it is, and then on that side is just the brakes. But it uses fully synthetic oil. No surprise, is a Lexus, a modern Lexus anyways. And here is the 4.3 liter V8 producing roundabouts of 300 horsepower. Lots of plastic in here. This plastic cover, as you can see, it's very flimsy. I'm not a big fan of it. I feel like they could update this. It should say like 4.3 liter or something. VVTI like the rest of them say, because I'm sure it has it. I just don't know why they decided not to put it on here. But I'm going to close the hood here. The latch for it, I'll show where the latch is. The latch, well, I guess I got to open it again, but at least I can show you where the latch opener is. Down here. There it is. Open it up. And the latch for it is down. So here's the Lexus emblem. It's here. It's down a little bit. So I have to curve my fingers like this to get down in there and then push it to the left. Okay? All right. Nice headlights. Going around, I have no problems with the headlights. They work fine. And the interior, I went over the interior already. And if you haven't seen, it'll be later in the video. I like the steering wheel. Sometimes these polished steering wheels are slippery, but this one has tons of grip, and I'm a big fan. So let's go over the car seat. So this is more of a family and practical review. So we need to go over the car seat. Now, the first time I put the car seats in, I had a lot of difficulty. Well, you can see how well this car can sleep a child. She's been sleeping here for about a half an hour as I've been making videos. And my other one was sleeping right here too, but she has the detachable car seat. But I digress. So, as in just about every single car, or I know Lexus for sure, they have these little markers here that have the little baby on it, and usually the hooks are right under. And I was getting so frustrated because I was feeling under here. I could not find any hooks. The only thing I can find resembling as a hook are the cables that kind of assist with the folding of the seat, okay, which is right there if you didn't know. Okay, I was going nuts, so I just ended up using the seatbelt, which works fine. It's just not as secure as these hooks are. So I had to watch another video, and in that video, this guy, he's like, oh yeah, you just fold right here. And I looked in the manual. In the manual, I couldn't find anything in the manual about this flap, this magical flap that covers up the hooks. So if we go under here, I still was feeling under here, didn't feel anything. The hooks are inside of this upholstery. So there's two layers. You got the leather, you fold that back, and then you got this softer material here, and then that's where your hooks are. That's where you hook in your child seats. So I don't know why they made it so hidden. It was a little frustrating, and like I said in the manual, I could not find anything about it. And hers is right now, hers is just hooked up via the seatbelt. So the good news is that the seatbelt's actually long enough to sling all the way through and around her car seat to hook in. So I was pretty fortunate and happy that happened. Since this is a truck and it's not a crossover, the tailgate is very different. So usually it lifts up like this, okay? This actually opens like a regular door. One of the best features of this is that the glass opens. Now, on my wife's Toyota Matrix, the glass opens on that too, but this is a little bit more convenient. If you can't swing open the door, we'll talk about that in a second. You just press this button, it pops open the glass. And if you're not 6 feet tall, it might be kind of hard to reach in here, but for me it's easy to reach into there and just throw some groceries in there or whatever. So that button's over here, but to open this back, you can come over here. It opens like a door. Now this is very light. This little hydraulic helps quite a bit to make that door very easy to open. Inside the door is actually some cool stuff. Hopefully nothing falls out on me. We have a first aid kit. Now, I don't know why it's such a large container for just a first aid kit, and maybe some other models, maybe in Europe or something, they fill this up with other things, but there's just a tiny first aid kit in there. And remember, this vehicle's been around for a while, so they may have had, on a previous iteration, in the previous years, they may have filled that up with other things. Now if you come over here, this is where you're going to find your tools for changing your tire. So it's all stuffed in there and very neatly, very organized. All right, these are just twists. So we just came back from the grocery store. It fit everything in there just fine. So we're a family of 4. And it's only about a third full in the back. Now that is with the third seat folded down. With the third seat folded up, I'll have to show that, but this would barely fit with the third seat folded up. So just keep in mind that as you're transporting lots of passengers, your cargo space diminishes. Here's a cool little mirror I've never seen on any other vehicle. It's a conversation mirror, and that's what Lexus calls it. To me, it kind of looks like a reflective pair of sunglasses when you look at it. But what's cool is that you can see everyone in your cabin. Although it's like a fisheye, it's kind of skewed, but you can see everything in it, which is awesome. It's a weird little feature I've never seen on any other car. Here is your cabin lights. It's on the door. Here's the sunroof. It's actually a very big sunroof. I love it. It's bigger than I think what I saw on the ES the other day, but it works just like any other sunroof. There's the tilt function. On the ES the tilt function was on this side and the sliding mechanism was on the other side. So, and that's something about all Lexus models is that, yeah, they all share similarities between each model, but each single model has its own development team. So just certain things kind of drive us crazy who sell these vehicles for a living. Is that you go in one vehicle, everything is just about identical, except the buttons are just swapped around. So you kind of have to readjust really quickly, but it's not too bad because the general theme remains the same on most of these vehicles. One little gripe I have, this is a 2018 model. Now this car really hasn't been updated in a few years, and I like the wood trim. that is a Lexus, I guess, commonplace, is to have wood, but there's hardly any wood in here. So you have wood here, and you have wood here on the door, on each door. You have wood in the middle, right here as well, and then the cup holder wood is here. Now, it's kind of washed out by this Megatron look of plastic, this silver metallic plastic. It doesn't flow very well with the classy wood. If they made this all wood, or maybe upholstery, or just continue with this upholstery here, or even this black, it would have looked a lot better. I just think this plastic looks cheesy, it looks dated, and for 2018, they really need to update this. For the LX, this is completely redone. Hopefully they redo this next year for the 2019 model, but I'm not getting my hopes up because Lexus doesn't update their SUVs. So here's the cargo area with the third seat folded down. It's quite spacious, I might say. And when you fold down the next level, you fold down by pressing that, and there it goes. Now, look what, you need to fold down the headrest before you do so. It doesn't do it for you, so you got to fold it down. Can it be done with one hand? Let's see, let's try that again. All right, and it's still running into the driver's seat, okay? So it's a little clunky. I don't think this folds forward to further collapse it. I think it just stays in this fixed position, which is unfortunate because I feel like it would be easier to fold the second row down if that headrest didn't get in the way. Now, yes, I could move the seat forward, but, all right, so there it is. Once you have this second row folded down, you have tons of space. I mean, you could fit tons of stuff back here, but a big portion why people buy these vehicles is so they can put multiple people in there. Or if they have a family, they can put their kids in here. Now, if you have more than 2 kids, this is the setup you want. You want the captain's chairs, which is an option, and we can go around and look to see how much this option costs. So the premium package with the captain's chairs is a $6,500 option, because they put it with the sport design package was the 18-inch alloy wheels, which I actually like the wheels quite a bit here. That's what they look like with the paint, the Eminent White Pearl with that gunmetal gray. I think it's pretty sharp. LED fog lamps, rain sensing wipers, which I'm not a big fan of, but they're okay. Not that they're poorly implemented on this vehicle, I just personally don't like them. Navigation package. In this vehicle, it's overrated because the navigation screen, as you guys saw, is just a little, it's small and it's low resolution. So until that's updated, it's not really worth this extra package. But the captain's chairs, if you can get the captain's chairs without all this added stuff like the navigation, then it's probably worth it. But if you have 2 little kids and you have 2 child seats, you're going to need the captain's chairs in order to get to the third row of seating, because you're not going to fold over. How are you going to fold this seat down so people can get in the back if you don't have captain's chairs? Okay, so captain's chairs are a must if you have more than 2 kids who are in a child seat. Okay, here's the third row. We're going to fold it up right now. You have to take out this mat. This is an all-weather mat, which is great. I love it. It's awesome. But you got to pretty much take it out. And then this is the only way you can bring up this third row seating. So I can do it with one hand all the way back. Okay. And we're gonna do that again here. So, but where's the seat? But you can see the seat, it's all stumpy. No one can sit here. So you have to reach under. It's just a little lift. And you pull it out. And there's that. Now the headrest is down. You fling it up manually with your hand. And now the seat's fully assembled. Okay. So I'm going to get on the other side. Oh, it's a tight fit. Good thing it's captain's chairs. Here we go. Pull this up, bring it back under here, fling it. Ooh. So there's some hydraulics on it to keep it in place. So it's in place now. Pull this up, it's in place. So here we go. I'm 6'1". My knees are snug. I mean, I have to kind of split out here. I mean, I would have some room. Wouldn't be too bad if I have the ability to just put my foot in between the two captain's chairs. This leg has some more breathing room, but if I'm stuck here, but there's some good space here. You could put another person or possibly a cooler or a suitcase. But yeah, the third row, not a lot of room. And then the kicker, guys, the kicker on the third row is look how much cargo room there is. There it goes, it focused. It's gonna be hard to see, but there's probably 8 inches of cargo room once this is up. And I'm gonna give you guys a different perspective so you can see it. Okay, to disassemble the third row, you pull up on here, folds down the headrest, okay? Okay, that was awesome. I'm gonna do that again so you guys can see it. So, there's a lever back here. Don't get sick on me. Here's the lever. You pull that, and then you know how I mentioned there's a hydraulic on it just a second ago? It brings that forward and you fold that forward. Easy as that. So the disassembly is awesome. It's really quick, real snappy, but setting it up takes a little bit longer. Okay, and here's how much space you have with the third row folded up. Okay, meaning it's actually assembled. There's not a lot of space here. I'm gonna take off my sandal. I have pretty small feet, and you can see my sandal doesn't even fit lengthwise here. All right, there's only about 6 inches of space. Now, if you have 6 passengers, which this is technically supposed to be able to handle, if you have 6 passengers and you're traveling, well, guess what? You're gonna have to put something on top, a big carrier on top, or travel with a trailer behind you. Speaking of trailer, you should be able to do it no problem, right? Hitch, you have the big V8, there's plenty of torque in this engine, but you're not gonna be able to store anything inside the vehicle other than maybe a couple bags. We are leaving our taco, which is a great taco place here in Omaha. Driving back in the GX 460. We had to put the girlies back in their seats, and we realized that it's just easier to keep the seats in there than to take them in and out. And the big reason for that is that when you turn off the car, the front seats automatically retract backwards, so it's easier for the driver and the front passenger to get out. But if you have a car seat behind there that it's a removable one, then it kind of clamps it down. So it's just a lot easier for you to just take the child out of the removable car seat than to remove the car seat itself. Getting in and out of the vehicle, there is a great little side platform. Running boards is what they're called. And for me, I do left foot, then right foot, so I can get my right foot in first. If I do my right foot first on the running board, it's just a little awkward. If you're over 6 foot, you might be able to forego the running board altogether, but any shorter, you're gonna have to use a running board to get into this vehicle. So getting out of the vehicle, I'd recommend using the running boards, especially for the driver. So there's a lip on the seat, on each edge of the seat, and if you just kind of slide your butt out to the ground, you're kind of deforming the seat when you do so, and it stresses the leather and the upholstery quite a bit. We had a guy come in last week and he's thinking about trading in his 2008 GX 470, the older version of this, and the car was in great condition, and the seats were in great condition, but the front driver's seat, and there's only 40,000 miles on this vehicle that he was trading in. The front seat on that lip I was talking about needed to be replaced. It was completely worn at 40,000 miles because he decided to forego the running board on the way out. He just slid his butt out, which is easier. It's easier to just skip that step and just to get your feet on the ground. But if you have this vehicle, I highly recommend you use a running board on the way out. Girls, Daddy's talking. Yes, Daddy's talking. Use a running board on the way out so you don't put premature wear on it, because, you know, that's the last thing you want to have to worry about. Blind spot monitor has worked really, really well in the weekend I've been driving this vehicle. It's the blind spot. Okay, you can watch in the mirror here. So I'm coming to a stop, and there's going to be a vehicle coming up on my right rear, and you'll see that light up. I guess it doesn't under a certain mile per hour, so that's good to know. I guess it only lights up maybe above 20 miles per hour, and we will test that once this light turns green. I'll get it out in front of this car to my right. Oh, he's pulling up. You want to race? Honey, you want to look at him? You want to race, bro? What is he driving? A BMW? I bet your wheels will fall off by the time the light turns green in that crappy BMW. Let's race, bro. Oh, I smoked that BMW. Smoked him hard. Okay. Blind spot monitor is on, so look in the mirror, hon.
Okay.
You see it? You got it?
I do.
Yeah. So it's on, so my guess is that it's probably around 20 miles an hour. And then as he passes, so the blind spot monitor turned off about as the entire car passed the front doors. So that's when it's effective. And when I was backing out of the driveway the other day, so this blind spot monitor is on right now. That's pretty cool. So, I mean, you really don't ever need to check your blind spots. Just make sure the blind spot monitor is on the dash. The BSM right there, that's on. So you don't ever really have to check your blind spots anymore. You just check your mirrors that have the blind spot monitor indicator on it. Anyways, I was backing out the driveway, and I was still getting accustomed to this vehicle, so I was kind of messing around on the screen, and I started getting blinking out of my mirror as I was backing out, and I hadn't hit the street yet. I was maybe 10-15 feet away from even touching the street, and it started blinking. It let me know that a car was going to be passing behind me before I even got to the street, which was really cool. I started backing out again, and then it started blinking again. There's another car coming. So that doesn't replace having to look behind you to see if a car is coming, but I would totally recommend checking your mirrors as you're backing out, and not just the monitor, because the monitor might not tell you if a car is going to be coming as you're backing up, but the mirrors do. So the ride quality is what you would expect for a truck-based SUV. It's a 4x4 in nature. It's not a unibody crossover type vehicle like the RX 350. This is a full-fledged truck. So it handles the bumps amazingly well compared to my sedan, as you would expect it would. It rides very silently. You guys probably can't hear any road noise as I'm driving, so it's great for recording. You're probably going to hear my daughters over the road noise. And the next thing you would hear is the air conditioning, which is on pretty low. The engine is plenty strong. I don't think they need to put anything more in it. It has around 300 horsepower. And I usually stay under 3,000 RPMs for just regular city traffic. And it has enough power to merge real easily onto the interstate. The brakes, I wasn't a big fan of at first. The brakes, the brake pedal traveled, it felt like a good inch or so before I felt the brakes coming on at all. But after driving it the last couple days, I don't really notice it anymore. But that's something to keep in mind as you're maybe taking this out for a test drive, is that the brakes are actually really good. But you just have to get used to that dead zone of the first inch or so on the brake pedal. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to tell you guys about the off-road capability on this vehicle. Just know that it's more than well equipped to be able to handle that. This particular model doesn't have the different driving modes for off-roading. Like, there's a rock and sand mode, there's a mud mode, there's like 4 different modes for the off-road, but this model doesn't have it, so I won't be able to show you that. But if you pan the camera down here, we're in 4 high, so it's always in 4-wheel drive, and then 4 low if you're pulling something. That might be a good option to have. It does have the the downhill assist control, so it'll just slow your descent as you go downhill. But we don't live in the mountains here in Nebraska, so I don't ever really need to try that out. But for the vast majority of people, just the basic all-wheel drive is going to be more than enough. If you live in the mountains in crazy weather, then yeah, you might need the extra driving modes for better grip, but for the average person, the standard four-wheel drive mode is more than enough. So the nav screen's okay. It's a touch screen, and so if you touch it randomly, it's going to stop. You know, it'll tell you roughly the address you just typed, but like you can press around, and I don't know. It takes get some used to. So this right here, you just press that to recenter the screen. That's my #1 tip if you're on the nav screen, is to, if you accidentally press something, just press this and it'll recenter. You can zoom in, zoom out. For the climate control, I love having knobs to control my climate because I really don't have to look around. I know where that knob is. So like, for example, here's the radio. This has the volume knob. And I don't have to look. I know where it's at. I can feel it and adjust. For the fan in the climate, you can't adjust the air conditioning fan by just turning a knob. There's no knob for it, which I dislike greatly. So you actually have to press the climate button, and then you have to press on here for the cabin fan, which I don't like at all, because that's something you adjust quite often in your vehicle, is your air conditioning fan, and it doesn't make it easy for you. To sum it up, guys, the 2018 GX 430 is a great family vehicle. It sleeps kids for days. It's comfortable. There's lots of space if you have the third row folded down, which most of you probably will. Make sure to get the captain's chairs, like the one you see here, space in the middle. Captain's chairs if you plan on putting people on that third row with having car seats. If you have child seats and you do not have the captain's seat, it's gonna be really hard to make use of that third row. I wish they updated the infotainment section. Again, this is what it looks like. I'm not a big fan of all the plastics. But it's never gonna break. I mean, it's Lexus, it's Toyota, it's not gonna break down. It's just a little outdated, and I hope they update that for the next model year, or when they rehaul for the next generation of GX. But I would recommend this vehicle to anyone who's in the market for it. Just keep in mind that it does have its drawbacks. Although it is a well-polished, well-rounded SUV, it's gonna have amazing off-road capabilities, and it's going to last the test of time. I see these things 20 years old, the GX is still around. They're great vehicles, and I can't recommend them enough.